Hello, everyone. I'm the person who made the page. Okay, so we have a Michael Jordan fan who wants to go on. He's from YouTube. He goes by the YouTube username of Tedros Court. He has Michael Jordan as the number one NBA player of all time, and he would like to explain why Michael Jordan is the number one NBA player of all time. So let me put him on. Hey, welcome to the program.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. Thanks for asking. How's it going with you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm good. I'm just ready to prove Michael Jordan's the best.
Okay, well then, you're not going to actually do that because there is no proof. But anyway, okay. So you have Michael Jordan as the number one NBA player of all time. So please feel free to explain if you like.
Okay, just to summarize, I can go into more detail later, but as you know, I'm sure, being the basketball enthusiast that you are, 6 championships,
well,
2 three-peats.
One thing, when you say 6 championships and then you brought him 2 three-peats, why do you give him credit for that? He didn't win it by himself. There's actually other problems with going by rings, but I'll just bring up one point right now.
Okay, you want me to answer that right now?
If you want, it's up to you.
Well, let me just list off a couple things, and then I can come back to that.
Oh, okay, sure.
So,
sure.
just the highlights. So, the 6 finals, broken into 2 three-peats, no game 7s, 10 scoring titles, Defensive Player of the Year, the eye test, extremely athletic, great mid-range shooter, great finisher, great defender.
That's a lot of points you're making, man. You don't want to go one at a time?
No, okay, that's good. That's a summary.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I know you asked me and I said go ahead, but I didn't realize it was going to be that many points. And if you want to go ahead, bring up more, go ahead. But it's a lot of points.
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Each of the things you said has a lot of problems. A lot. Now, if I were to get into each thing, it would take a long time. It wouldn't be practical. And plus, I want to be fair and give you time to follow up. So you want to just start over one at a time? Or what I can just do is go back to where we started with when you brought up how he has 6 rings and, there was something else.
Yeah, we can go back to that.
Okay, sure. So one guy doesn't win a ring. Again, there's other problems if you go by rings, but I'll just keep it simple for now.
Okay. Okay, you want me to respond?
If you want to, I can keep it going if you want.
I can respond. You just feel free to just interject whenever.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, in any team sport, any competitive sport, right, it takes a team to win. And but as we know, every team has the superstar, has the leader, has the best players. Like the best players make the difference. Like there's no getting around that. Like even in basketball, where we have teams of about make 15 players, you don't have 3 to 5 of them who are going to be much better than the rest. Without those 5 players, the team can't get as far. I mean, so that's my argument for that.
Many problems with this argument. For example, Michael Jordan, that same guy, was on the Chicago Bulls for many years, and they lost. They lost more times than they won. So how do you explain that if you're going to put it on a guy for winning?
Okay. So he lost in terms of not making it to the championship. That's what you mean.
I personally don't blame him for losing, just like I don't elevate him for winning. But if you're going to go by the argument that basically, he won, then by that logic, if you want to be fair and consistent, wouldn't you say he lost and he lost more times than he won?
Sure. If you want to take his entire career and say yes, he lost more times than he won. Yes, we can go with that. He played 15 seasons total. He lost, 11 of them? Okay, so yes.
Okay, so then...
But then we can take any player and do the same thing. We can take LeBron James, who can play 21 seasons, all right? So if we want to measure them by losing, then we can do that too.
I just want to bring up that a Michael Jordan fan has randomly brought up LeBron James and did it in a negative way. Anyway...
Okay. Just interject. I am a LeBron hater. I'm a LeBron hater.
No surprise. A lot of Michael Jordan fans are. If you ask me what surprises you the most about that, I don't know. Is it either they always bring up LeBron James when he has nothing to do with the topic, or they always bring him up in a negative way, or they don't realize that so many of other Michael Jordan fans are doing these things, or they don't realize that no one does these things except Michael Jordan fans.
Well, we got to defend our boy. You know what I'm saying? We have to defend him against all threats. So LeBron's one of them. So we got to defend him.
You know what? I actually appreciate that you acknowledge that. Not a lot of Michael Jordan fans will acknowledge that. Like, you're right. If LeBron James wasn't even in the NBA, it would be someone else. Actually, you guys would be acting like this with someone else. I don't mean literally acting like this with someone else, but you'll be doing these type of things with someone else. How do you explain that logically? Like, when Michael Jordan fans do these things and other people are not doing these things, wouldn't you say there's something up with Michael Jordan fans?
Hey, man, we're fucking crazy. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. You're okay with the language?
You can talk however you want to. I was just like, oh, okay. Like, not too many times the Michael Jordan fans will say that. I know you're probably joking, but maybe you're partly being serious.
Okay, well, I'll say this, right? I genuinely think Michael Jordan is the best. Okay, we bring up LeBron because currently, at least in the media narratives, LeBron may be seen as still the best player or one of the best players, or if there was someone to be compared to Michael Jordan or vie for the GOAT status, it would be LeBron or Kobe. But I'm more comfortable with someone saying Kobe than LeBron. Like LeBron, I just can't. Now there was a time.
I got to question that because I haven't seen any group of NBA fans act more negative with LeBron James than Michael Jordan fans. And actually, in any sport, I don't know if there's ever been a group of fans who were more negative against a guy than the way Michael Jordan fans were negative against LeBron James.
Well, I'll explain my reasoning. Okay, now. I wasn't always this negative towards LeBron James. Like, I didn't think he was better than Jordan, but I didn't think it was unreasonable for people to say, they might think he's better. I mean, I didn't agree with it, but I've of late become more like adamant against that idea because it's just, okay, we've had 20 years to see what he could do, and it just ain't happened. It doesn't mean he's not great, but he's not
but if that's the case, how do you explain that it's usually only Michael Jordan fans who have these takes, and they're the ones who take it to the most negative level? Like, if you were right, if everything you said was true, it wouldn't be just Michael Jordan fans, and they wouldn't be taking it to the most negative level. So when they do these things, that means either they know something that nobody else knows, or there's something questionable about them. Which one do you think is the logical answer then?
I would say the former.
Just to make sure, you mean there's something questionable about them?
Yes.
Okay.
No. That we know something that people aren't paying attention
to. Really? So you believe logically? Remember logic now. We can get into the details. That you guys know something that no one else knows. Like how do you figure that? Like how would that even be true?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. Now, I'm not saying nobody else knows, but what I'm saying is, okay, the thing that I'm bringing up is the media narrative. I think LeBron gets too much slack in the media. The media is always propping him up, making excuses for his failures. What's that?
Oh, no, I was saying, come on.
Yeah, no, I think the media just, kisses his ass, and, it's disappointing.
You know who agrees with you, by the way?
Who's that?
Michael Jordan fans. The only people I've ever heard say that the media does these things the way you guys explain it, it's Michael Jordan fans. So are you again going to say that you guys know something that everyone else doesn't? Like, in other words, when you guys put the media on, are you guys finding information that no one else does? Could it just be maybe you guys are so into Michael Jordan and so against LeBron James that you only pay attention to when people are elevating LeBron James and you don't pay attention to when people are elevating Michael Jordan? It's kind of like the political thing. You know how in politics, like, you ever see those news programs where one person on the screen is a Democrat, one person is a Republican, and the people who are supporting their side, they only pay attention to their side that's positive and they ignore the negatives. And then the other side, they focus on the negatives and ignore the positives. You don't see how you guys are doing the same thing?
Okay. Yes, it's similar, but you got to remember, there's always a spectrum. You're always going to have people who are far right, far left, and moderates. Okay. Ideally, we want more people, even if you lean left or right, to be more moderate. Are you going to get some fanatics on either side? Of course. You know what I'm saying? I don't consider myself fanatic. I think I lean moderate, but
well, I'll show you how you're not moderate. Most of the media are into Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan hasn't even played in the NBA for a long time, and they elevate him all the time. They pick him as the number one NBA player of all time, and I could give you more examples, but you get the point. Now let's go to LeBron James. LeBron James, they question a lot, they nitpick things a lot, and at least you can find the excuse that, hey, you know what, whether you like it or not, he's still playing in the NBA, so there's reason to bring him up, and he's still a great player. So in other words, there's nothing questionable about them bringing up LeBron James, which I know you didn't say there was, but when you guys don't see that, wait a minute, if LeBron James is in the NBA and they bring him up, that fits. And if Michael Jordan is not in the NBA and they bring him up year after year after year after year, that doesn't fit with your logic when you guys say, how they're elevating LeBron James. And how do you ignore the fact that most of them are into Michael Jordan? They pick him as a number one NBA player of all time. They ridicule you if you don't pick him as the greatest. And don't you notice when they nitpick LeBron James? And so on.
I don't feel like they nitpick LeBron James. I feel like fans like me will nitpick LeBron James. Some of these other channels on YouTube will nitpick LeBron James, but the mainstream media, no, they give him excuses. Now, you said Jordan, they elevate Jordan. Okay, I'm not denying that, but Jordan proved himself, in my opinion. He proved himself. Okay, that's
so you're doing the political thing where you automatically side with your guy and ignore the negative things, and then you automatically go against the other guy and ignore the positive things.
So let's bring up the negative things.
Okay, so real quickly, so let's go one step at a time here, actually. Would you agree that most people in the media pick Michael Jordan as the greatest NBA player of all time?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one thing in Michael Jordan's favor. Would you agree that Michael Jordan hasn't played in a long time and they bring him up so much for a guy who hasn't played in the NBA for a long time?
Yes.
Okay, so that's so far we're 2 for 2. So it sees the favor of Michael Jordan. Would you agree that LeBron James is still in the NBA, so there's reason to bring him up a lot?
Yes.
That's 3 for 3. So far, so good. Would you say LeBron James has been a good player for years, so that's more of a reason to bring him up a lot? Oh, that shouldn't have a hesitation, man. Come on. He's been a good player for years. You said that earlier, he was a good player, right?
He's a good player, but he's deteriorated. Okay, he's deteriorated.
When you're scoring a lot of points and getting a lot of rebounds and having a good field goal percentage and all that, you can't just say he's deteriorating. But even if he is, I'm pretty sure you still thought the same things when his numbers were when he was not deteriorating.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Okay,
but his greatness is not translating to winning. That's my main problem. That's the main problem I have with him. That's the main reason
we can get into that, but I want to establish what you think about the media, and then we'll get into it. Okay. So do you agree that there's good reason for him to bring him up because he's a good player?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And would you agree that for years, and maybe even today, it depends on, some people considered him the number one NBA player in the NBA, so that's more reason for them to bring him up.
Sure.
Okay, so far we're pretty much on the same page, and I guess I'll give you one or two more. Would you agree that some people considered him the number one NBA player of all time? So that's more reason for them to bring him up.
Yes.
Okay, and the last and final thing, would you agree that anybody in the NBA who's a big star is going to get brought up a lot? So since he's a big star, okay, I know I kind of brought up similar things, but it's a little different also. He's a big star. That's more reason for them to bring him up.
Absolutely.
Okay, so far we're pretty good. How do you then ignore all that and then go, I'm not quoting your exact words, so don't quote me, but you're basically painting a picture they don't bring Michael Jordan up as much as LeBron James, and they give LeBron James a pass. And when they bring Michael Jordan up, it's okay, it's good because he earned it and things like that.
Okay. Well, I think my context is more specific than that. I don't have a problem with him being brought up, talked about, praised. I have a problem with him, with people claiming he's the GOAT, okay, or like making excuses when his team is playing shitty. That's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with you bringing him up, but like when he's losing and all this, like admit he's fucking up, but don't like make excuses about he doesn't have enough help. Like I hear that narrative, like that's BS. LeBron has had plenty of help throughout his career. Okay, Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No. I can. That basically summarizes what I'm saying.
So many problems here. So all the things you said that they say about LeBron James or they do, they said and did the same thing for Michael Jordan, and they still say and do the same things for Michael Jordan today. I can give you some examples if you want. And secondly, when you say they're doing these things for LeBron James, I mean, I'm not saying it never happened. You can always find people in the media doing all sorts of questionable things. But in general, they don't really do these things. And if they do, maybe it's true. I mean, maybe he had a team where he didn't have as much help. And why would you blame him for losing, by the way? It's not a guy who wins and loses. And if you're going to put it on a guy for wins and losses, how come you don't do it for Michael Jordan? I know you admitted it earlier in the phone call, but I'm guessing before this phone call, you don't put it on Michael Jordan for losing.
No, I can give him some blame for losing. Yeah, okay. But his finals record, your finals record matters.
Why?
He never lost.
How?
Because
it's not a one-on-one game. It's a team game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. It's like winning is the ultimate like expression of like your like skill. Like it just is. Okay, I get it. It takes a team. But he's still the leader of the team,
okay,
right?
So
if we want to look at another sport, if you take Tom Brady away from the Patriots, okay, they're not going back to Super Bowl. Like it just is what it is.
Many problems here. So when you say take a guy off, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Well, let's apply that to Michael Jordan. Don't take him off. What happened? They lost a bunch of times, and even when he retired the first time, they won only 2 less games. And if you say, well, he never lost in the finals, well, again, one guy doesn't win and lose. And one more thing, there's a lot of points I can bring up, but again, there's so many, it's not practical, it'll take a long time, and I want to give you time to follow up. One more, when you put it on a guy for winning and losing, here's a question for you. What was the difference between the Michael Jordan who won and the Michael Jordan who lost? It's the same Michael Jordan pretty much then.
No, it's not the same Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan won got better. The Michael Jordan who won beat the back-to-back champions, back-to-back Detroit Pistons. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure, I think he swept them. Okay? So obviously he got better. He did something to get better.
So why didn't he win every year after that?
Why didn't he win every year after that?
You're essentially telling me he was only at his best for 6 years.
Yeah, the rest of his career with the Bulls, yeah, he was at his best, yep.
So, I mean, you made that up, man. Only 6 years, the number one NBA player of all time was good? Or at his best?
Hey, look, 6 years, dominated the entire 90s, except for the years he retired.
I wouldn't say he I wouldn't say he dominated the entire 90s. Other players, not one player didn't dominate the entire decade, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fair, okay. But he's the number one player of the 90s. Like, there's no getting around that.
No, that's not true at all. I disagree with that. But we'll get that later if you want. So when you say he was better, how was he better? Because if you look at the 1980s, his statistics were better and he was younger. So you would think logically that would make him better. He was a better player in the 1980s. And also, is it really logical to say that Michael Jordan only had 6 years where he was that good? And then, if you're going to call him the number one NBA player of all time, is it logical to say that Michael Jordan is the number one NBA player of all time when he only had 6 years where he was that good? According to you.
Yes, that's reasonable.
Wow.
But let me rewind back to one of your points that you made. You just said his statistics was better in the 80s. Okay. See, there's a problem right there. That's the problem right there.
What is it?
Now, this may be a difference of what we value, but to me, that's part of the problem with the LeBron James effect. Putting stats above winning. Okay, listen. Wilt Chamberlain was a great freak athlete, had great stats. He only beat Bill Russell one time. Okay, so that goes to show. Okay, yeah, you can have great stats if it don't translate to winning. No, I can't just sit here and give you credit for being the best.
Okay.
It means you do not.
Yeah, many problems here. So, for example, if he has good stats in the 1980s and good stats in the 1990s, what's the difference? It's the same guy. In fact, his stats were better in the 1980s and he was younger. So how can we ignore that his statistics are better and he's younger, but supposedly he's a better player in the 1990s? And even if you give me some reason or reasons, you can cherry pick something and said he had more experience, he got more motivated, he was a better, he just figured out small, like he knew where to go on the floor and all that. That still doesn't erase that there are more things about him that were better in another decade. And then when you said earlier about how that's the problem with statistics, it's not a problem. Only you Michael Jordan fans have this thing against statistics. But the funny part is, you guys don't have a problem with statistics when it actually helps Michael Jordan or goes against someone who's a threat to Michael Jordan.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Statistics don't tell the whole story.
That's true.
Again, this is my problem with the LeBron James effect. Okay. Yes, Jordan's statistics may have been better in the 80s. Okay, he was younger, more athletic. Okay, but as you said, it's a team game. At some point, you have to modify. This is my opinion, and this is what some analysts will say. I'm not saying it's right. Like, there's no.
Most of those analysts are Michael Jordan fans, by the way.
Okay, all right. Well, but the argument is, hey, he learned to play within his system. Phil Jackson asked him to score less points for the betterment of the team. That's what you got to do. So he modified his game. He was less of a high flyer. He worked more on his post game, his mid-range game, his footwork. He worked on other things to become a different kind of player.
Okay, well, many problems here. So first, he actually didn't want to sacrifice his game. The story goes, Tex Winter said there's no I in team, and he said, yeah, there's an I in win. So he didn't want to do it.
Yes.
Secondly, he sacrificed his game, no doubt, but he didn't have to. He could have easily kept the same game and won a ring if the team was good enough to do it. It's not like you have to sacrifice your scoring to win. And third, if you say, no, you have to sacrifice to win. Okay, I'm down with that. Fine, if you believe that, let's go with that. How come he didn't win every year after that? And last and final thing, what if, when you say he sacrificed, scoring is the only one part of the game. What about all the other parts of the game? The rebounding, the steals, the assists, and all that. His game was pretty much the same.
I don't know if I agree that his game was the same. I mean, like I said, he definitely was less of a high flyer, had better footwork, played more in the system. Now he still was a ball hog. I'm not even going to deny that. He still was a ball hog, okay? But he still played more. They still developed a better team game, okay? And his intensity, the intensity he played with, made his teammates better. Like you can't deny that.
I do deny that. I deny that. His intensity was always intense. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll just have to say it. You don't go from get your ass beat 3 years in a row by the Pistons to back-to-back champions. They beat your ass, and then the next year you sweep them. That just doesn't happen.
No, it can easily happen for many reasons. For example, a team can have injuries, a team can lose some players, a team can have bad chemistry, or a bunch of examples. At the end of the game, it is a team game. And when you say he beat them, he didn't beat them. His team beat them. When Phil Jackson came in, by the way, it's not like they won right away. They didn't win their first year with Phil Jackson.
No, of course not. But I'm saying, still, you can't discount the fact that they swept the back-to-back champions. I never seen Golden State get swept.
So what?
In a playoff.
But that doesn't mean anything. And even if I'm wrong and it does mean something, even if it does, it's not a guy doing it. It's a team doing it. So if you want to give credit for the sweep, give credit to the team, not Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan is the main driving factor.
So then how come when he left, that team, without their main driving factor, only won 2 less games?
Because he raised their level to the point he made them that good.
But they
couldn't get over the hump without him.
But don't you see? You're doing the political thing again. My guy is so good. He's good when he's there. He's good when he's not there because he made them good. Like, it just, there's no way you can be wrong. You can always set it up where, look, when he was there, he was the reason. When he was not there, oh, he made them the reason. This is just making things up.
Well,
I don't think the Chicago Bulls I don't think the Chicago Bulls would agree with you that, hey, the reason we did so well was because he made us better. I don't think they'd agree with you on that. That'd be disrespectful and dismissive.
Well, I think in Last Dance, a couple of the players did say he made them better.
Yeah, but they did. But it's, first of all, two, whatever number it was only one or two, whatever. You say two, so I'll just assume it's two. And they didn't say we won 2 less games because he made us better. They just said, like, he did a good job in helping us get better. Like, lots of legends do a good job of helping their teammates get better.
Okay, so they won 2 less games in the regular season. Okay, but they didn't get to the championship. Like, I could see what you're saying if they at least got to the championship and then maybe just lost. But they didn't even make it to the finals.
But that was 1 year. You're going to base this whole thing off of one chance?
It was 2 years.
No, he didn't leave. No, he didn't leave for 2 years. He left for 1 year. He came back and they lost. Your guy, the main driving force, lost to the Orlando Magic. But that's another thing that you guys do.
You're right.
But don't you see how you're setting it up? You guys set it up where when they win, it's because of him. When they lose, it's not because of him. But then I know earlier in the call you did say you do put it on him for losing. You did say that, but I'm guessing, bro, even before you came on my program, I'm guessing you didn't blame him for losing, and I'm guessing even right now you don't blame him for losing.
No, look, they got their ass beaten by the Magic, but I have an excuse for him.
He was rusty.
Look, he was not in basketball shape.
How do you know?
He was gone for a year and a half.
So again, you set it up where he can't lose. If he comes back and wins, you're going to say, look, he won. He didn't get that much time and he won. Look, he didn't know, like, his teammates and him didn't have good chemistry and they won and so on.
He only played 17 games.
And then when he loses, you go, he wasn't in shape. So you can't lose. You set it up where your leader can always win. And real quick, how do you know he was not in shape? How do you know?
I mean, that's what he said. I don't know. Maybe he's lying. Okay, he lost.
Did you check his statistics? I'll tell you his playoff statistics if you want. I remember them. Do you want to know?
See, there we go again with the statistics stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell the whole story.
But nobody ever said statistics is the end all be all. They tell everything, but statistics tell either at minimum a lot, or more realistically, they tell the most. I mean, what you guys do, remember you said the problem with LeBron James fans or something like that when they go by statistics? The real problem is when you Michael Jordan fans do this strange thing where you act like statistics are this separate thing that shouldn't count that much or something, or shouldn't count at all or something.
No, of course it counts.
Well, real quick, and then the funny thing is, when the statistics help Michael Jordan, you go with it, or when they go against another player who's a threat to Michael Jordan, you go with it. It's a contradiction then. Two contradictions.
No. It's only LeBron James. I have a problem with it. If you was arguing for Kobe Bryant, I wouldn't have this much resistance. It's LeBron James.
So statistics are okay as long as it's not LeBron James? Because you didn't say that.
Statistics are important, okay? But we have to weigh everything. It's a combination of statistics. It's a combination of the eye test. It's a combination of winning. Like, all of them have to be factored.
No. That's what you guys say. Statistics I can understand, even though I don't think you should use them either. But okay, fine. You want to use them. They are somewhat reliable for the most part. But eye test and winning, these things should... I mean, that doesn't make any sense to use them to rank players. What's so bad about statistics? If Michael Jordan had good statistics in the playoffs, how can you then say, like you said he wasn't in shape, but you weren't sure. So I said, I know his statistics, or at least I know some of them. I asked you, do you want me to tell you them? And you were like, well, that's a problem. Again, why are you going by statistics?
No, listen. No, I'll take your word for it.
Not me. I think you were questioning people who go by statistics.
Okay, no. Yeah, I am questioning. Because, look, he can have the statistics, right? He can still be a good shooter. But there are still other intangibles that the statistics aren't going to account for. His instincts, his basketball instincts, I don't know. Maybe he didn't get enough time to get back in rhythm. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I can't say for sure.
But you said he was out of shape.
Maybe he just sucked that year.
Yeah, but you did say in the beginning he was out of shape and all that. I know you changed it up, but still, you did do it.
I can concede if maybe I'm full of shit on that point. Okay.
Another thing you want to consider, by the way. Another thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but all I'm saying is that, okay, there are other intangibles that the statistics cannot account for.
Sure.
It just is what it is.
I agree, but there's a problem here. So there's two problems. When you go by points, rebounds, steals, and all the things that you can measure statistically in the NBA, you can't ignore all of them as if they don't really count. And number two, if you're saying there's other things that can't be measured, like intangibles or whatever, and they're important, and if you say statistics are not everything, you're right on all that. You're right. But here's what doesn't make sense. If a player has good statistics, how do you ignore that and go, well, we don't know how if he was in shape or not? Because if he's doing all those things, obviously you have some idea if he's in shape. And secondly, even if you say, well, what about the other things that can't be measured? Well, how many of those things can you find? And then even if you find a lot, why are those things more important than the statistics? So for example, if you get the points, you get the rebounds, you get the steals and so on, why would you pay attention to other things as if they're higher, like setting screens and, how high you jump and, faking a pass and all that? Those are important too, but why are they more important for you?
No, I'm not going to say they're more important, but they're the things that get you over the hump. Like, you can have the base skills or whatever, get these stats, but like the other things that, stats don't account for, those make the difference. Like some people will say, hey, good defense wins championships or whatever. Okay, you might have you can read off a box score. Hey, this person had too many block steals. Okay, but the context of the blocks and steals matter. Like if somebody makes an important block, in the first quarter, if somebody makes a block in the first quarter, it doesn't have the same weight as a block. Like with 40 seconds to go and the game is close. It matters. It matters.
That's another thing that you Michael Jordan fans do. You guys act like, first, you guys are always putting things in context that are unnecessary, and then if I'm wrong and it's necessary, you guys don't do the same thing for other stars. In other words, when it helps Michael Jordan, great. When it hurts them, ignore it. And then for another star, when it helps them, ignore it. And if it goes against them, great. Like, you guys do this wishy-washy thing whenever you want to elevate your guy and tear down whoever's a threat to him.
Okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
So you think a block in the first quarter has the same weight as a block when the game is counting down and we tied or one team is down by one? You think that carries the same weight?
Obviously, the game is the whole game. It doesn't end. You don't play the game for like the fourth quarter and that's it. Everything counts. In order to be in that fourth quarter situation, something had to happen earlier.
No, the stakes are higher in certain parts of the game.
Well, what if you were down? What if you were up by 20 for most of the game? Now the stakes are not higher at the fourth quarter with 1 minute left or whatever.
Okay, all right. So it just depends on what's going on. Like, yeah, if you're up by a certain amount of points, of course it doesn't matter. But if it's close, if the game is close, and you get a block, yes, it counts more.
But you're essentially telling people, look, don't do well for the whole time because what you do doesn't matter that much compared to the fourth quarter.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the stats alone don't tell the whole story.
But no one said it did. No one said it did.
3 blocks.
No one said statistics tell the whole story.
Okay, but that a lot of times LeBron proponents always want to bring up statistics. Like I'm saying, if you get 3 blocks in the first quarter and then you get no blocks in the fourth quarter when the game is close, okay, look, I'm sorry. Let's say y'all end up losing the game. Because you couldn't block in the fourth quarter. All right, well, look, y'all lost the game. Like, yeah, you got the stats. I get it. Okay, I'm not knocking it. You're still a great player, great athlete. But when it mattered, your competitive drive didn't get you over the edge.
Okay, many problems there. First of all, Michael Jordan fans go by statistics too, not just fourth quarter stuff. They go by statistics all the time. Secondly, if Michael Jordan had better statistics earlier in the game, you guys would be using that to yourselves. So I don't understand why it's bad if you do it, but it's not bad. But it's bad if a LeBron James fan does it.
I'm not saying it's bad or not.
Come on. In this whole call, you mentioned more than once how you question LeBron James fans for going by statistics.
It just seems like they put that over the winning to try to make excuses for his
they do. They do put it over the winning, but they're not making excuses. They're telling you truth. Statistics are if you're going to use anything to rank players, they are the most reliable thing. And if you disagree, then that means anything else you go by is less reliable. So, for example, if you want to see points, rebounds, steals, and all that, that's what happened. If you want to start talking about pick and rolls and where you stood on the floor and I don't know, like how you smiled. I'm joking, obviously, and so on. There's no way to measure these things, but you can only go by what you can prove. And the other thing I don't get is the whole game matters. I mean, by your logic, Michael Jordan shouldn't even play the whole game until the fourth quarter. I mean, by your logic, Robert Horry is a legend, like a Hall of Fame type player.
No. I'm not saying the whole game don't matter. Okay, but you can't deny there are certain situations that happen where your competitiveness, you have to step up your game, and like it makes a difference. Like it just does. I'm not saying
you're talking about clutch. Then you're talking about clutch. If you're talking about
clutch, sure.
Then clutch would be a different argument. You could, if you were to say Michael Jordan's the greatest clutch player, NBA clutch player of all time, or he's a better clutch player than LeBron James, those are different arguments. But even if you do those ones, you're still going to have problems because he missed a lot of clutch shots and LeBron James has made a lot of clutch shots. But you're acting like Michael Jordan, I know you didn't say this literally, okay? I know you didn't say this, but I'm just pointing out, you're acting like he usually made his clutch shots and LeBron James doesn't.
No, I'm not going to say that. But LeBron definitely sunk in a lot of important situations.
And so did Michael Jordan.
A lot of clutch.
So did Michael Jordan.
He might hit a lot of. Okay, well, whatever their clutch statistics are, Michael Jordan translated more into winning than LeBron James.
No, you'd have to prove that to me. There's no such thing as that. I don't even know how they would measure that because, for example, if they say, okay, clutch means if you shoot with 14 seconds left. So does that mean 18 seconds is not clutch? And by the way, clutch is not just shooting. Clutch could be passing, getting a rebound, and so on.
Sure.
But you guys focus on scoring mostly.
No. Listen, I agree with your definition. It's not just about scoring points, but even if we compare that, I would even still think Michael Jordan more clutch defensively or whatever.
You would be believing that. There's no way to prove that when it comes to everything, scoring, rebounding, passing, or whatever, that Michael Jordan is a better clutch player than LeBron James. Maybe I take that back. Actually, I take that back. Actually, I'm sorry. Maybe there is a way to prove it, but if there is, no one's proved it yet.
I'm just going off the eye test. Again, that's not empirical, right? This is just subjective. That's just my opinion. But cumulatively, yes, Michael Jordan's more clutch than LeBron.
Now, you believe that, and I hope you consider that because you're so into Michael Jordan and you're so against LeBron James, you're going to have judgments on this that are not going to be reliable, or conclusions on this that are not going to be reliable.
Why?
Because you're so into Michael Jordan and you're so against LeBron James.
I'm against LeBron James because he's not the GOAT, okay? And he wants to bring GOATs to the SB.
Neither is Michael Jordan. Neither is Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan has a greater argument to be the GOAT than LeBron James.
No, he does not. But if he does, you can prove it. So far, you have not proven it.
Okay. Well, am I allowed to ask who you think is a GOAT? Do you think there's a GOAT, or do you even engage in a GOAT argument? Like, what is your position?
You can ask, and I'm happy to address this. But first, before I get to that, because Michael Jordan fans always ask, well, who do you pick? If you disagree with them about Michael Jordan being the greatest, I first want to establish, do you agree that Michael Jordan is not the greatest? If you do, I'll get into it. If you don't, then let's solve that one first.
No, he's the greatest.
Okay, you want to prove that?
I mean, I shared my points. I mean, you can agree or disagree, which you disagree. I mean, but my points are my points. To me, those are valid enough points for him.
Even after everything we went over, you still think your points are
okay? Yes, I do. All right, so let me just run down one more time.
Do you think you've proven that Michael Jordan is the greatest?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
All right, but let me give a rundown. Let me give a quick rundown, just very briefly.
Okay.
Now, we have to recall, he's had two three-peats. Okay? It's hard enough winning.
Not true.
What do you mean, what's not true?
He never had a three-peat.
Okay, so explain. I don't understand.
He never went out there and got a three-peat on his own, let alone two three-peats. It's a team game.
He got a three-peat as the most important player on the team.
Okay,
That matters.
so for example,
the most important player.
so why didn't he do it other years?
He wasn't as good, or the team wasn't as good.
It can't be the team. If you say he's the reason, then that means it's not a team thing. If you say the team is the reason, then that means it's not him. So it can't be both.
I just don't. I don't think that's a good argument. I don't think that's a good argument.
But do you at least recognize?
I understand.
But do you at least recognize you're on both sides of this?
No, I don't think so.
Oh wow.
Look, in any organization, it doesn't even have to be sports. You got somebody who's your main person. Like, there's no getting around that. If you want to look at Apple, Steve Jobs, like, okay, the early Apple, Steve Jobs is the main. He's the innovator. Like, regardless of how much money they had.
But hang on. When they say those guys are the main guys, they're not ranking them against people. They're just saying those are the main guys. You guys use the ring to rank him above everybody else.
Because this is a competitive sport.
Right.
Okay, this is a competitive sport. We have numbers and things like that, so there are superlatives.
But in competitive sports, usually, I didn't say always, okay? I didn't say always, but usually the only people who use rings to rank players are you Michael Jordan fans, and you guys have also infiltrated football, and now they're doing it because of you guys. Nobody did this years ago before Michael Jordan fans started doing this. Like, for example, nobody would say Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time because he has more World Series than, I don't know, I'm just making up an example, Willie Mays. Nobody did that. Any sport, nobody did it. So when you say it's a competitive sport and all that, well, then how come no one else is doing this except Michael Jordan fans?
Well, listen. I think football and basketball are comparable. Baseball, not so much. Like
a lot of Michael Jordan fans will say that. How about hockey? How about soccer?
No. I don't. Soccer, yes. Soccer, same thing. Yep.
Okay, well, but nobody does this. The only two people who do this. Yes. The only two people who do this are Michael Jordan fans in the NBA and Michael Jordan fans who infiltrated football. They started doing this in football for the last few years, so it became a thing.
No, that's not true. If we want to look at, all right, so for football, look, like I said, take away Tom Brady, you don't see Patriots in this.
I'll take away Michael Jordan. They won 2 less games.
Okay, and two less championships.
Well, no, they only had one.
Oh, I'm sorry, one.
No, but can I ask you? Even if you want to go by whatever number 2, 1, it's not like you gave them a lot of time to do it. They only had 1 year to try. Why would you judge them off of 1 year?
It doesn't, because previously they won all 3 the previous years.
Right, but then I can say, I can top that. I can say previously before that they had a lot of years where they lost. Just because they had 3 years where they won doesn't mean you ignore that they still won 2 less games with Michael Jordan. That doesn't make any sense.
But they didn't even make it to the finals. Like if they at least made it to the finals and lost, I would. No,
but the logic is still there. I understand they didn't make it to the finals. I get that. And by the way, some people thought they should have, but they got messed up by a referee or something. But anyway, look at what happened. If Michael Jordan is the main guy, driving force, he's the reason. Whatever you want to say, I know he was the main guy. But you know what I'm saying. Whatever you want to say, main guy, driving force, he's the reason, and all that. How would you explain that same team, when they lost him, they only won 2 less games, and when they had him, they lost a bunch of times? It's the same guy.
As you mentioned earlier, hey, chemistry can change and all that.
Right.
So listen, so now we got it. So now we need to get over these 2 years hump. They went back and won 3 more championships.
But I don't understand.
Consistency.
No, I don't understand. You said right now chemistry and all that, so you acknowledge other things play a role, but then you jump ship and go back to Michael Jordan is the reason. It can't be both. Either he's the reason or it's a team game. It cannot be both.
All right. It can be both.
How?
Okay, it can be both.
How?
Because like I said, the very next year they don't even make the finals. I could see if they made the finals and lost.
But we're going in a circle. You gave them 1 year, and you're ignoring that they won 2 less games. If you're going to stick to, they didn't go to the finals. Okay, I get that, fine. But if by your logic, they should have not even won that much, and it shouldn't be 2 less games. How do you explain those things?
I don't think you can definitively say that. Like, oh well, if it was just Michael Jordan, they should have only won. They should have.
But you do that. No, you do that. You say that they won basically because of him. So you are doing that. You do that.
I'm saying he's the most important factor.
Okay, so when the most important factor was there, they lost more times than they won, and when the most important factor left, they won 2 less games. You can't ignore that and go, but they didn't get to the finals. That's 1 year.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Look, in any field, right? You can have, like, I don't know. Let's just take cars. I don't want to get on too on tangent, but just a quick analogy. Okay, you can have 2 cars that got the same specs. This one's got a V12. This one's got, whatever all the specs are, but this one's just slightly more aerodynamic or whatever. It's some little feature that gets it, that makes it 2-3 seconds faster. A small difference, it makes the difference. Whether small or not, it makes a difference.
I'm down with that. Listen, I'm down with that. So again, when they had that dynamic factor, they lost a bunch of times, more times than they won.
Okay, well, you got to start from somewhere.
Okay, but what you're doing is you're not saying you got to start from somewhere. What you're doing is you're trying to find a way to go, it's him when they won, it's not him when they lost. Even though you said earlier it is him when they lost, but you kind of change it up. You act like it's one guy, then you act like it's a team game, then you act like it's both. Why not just say the simplest answer is the most likely answer? It's not because of him that they lost, and it's not because of him they won. It's a team game, and then that's it.
No, I can't say that. I can't say that.
Then you're really a typical Michael Jordan fan.
I mean, look, man, you just can't ignore it.
Sure you can. I do it all the time.
93, 91, 92, 93, 94. Okay, 95, he was off. Okay, let's just say he sucked that year. Let's say he deteriorated or whatever.
He's not.
Okay?
No, he's not. See, why is there always an excuse?
It's not an excuse.
If LeBron James did what Michael Jordan did, you wouldn't ignore all those losses. If he left a team and they won 2 less games, you would be saying, look, they left and they still won only 2 less games. All the things, this is another double thing that you guys do. It's like a double standard. No. When Michael Jordan does something questionable, he gets a pass. When LeBron James does something questionable, he gets criticized.
No.
Yes.
Look, winning a certain amount of games ain't the same as winning the championship. It's plenty of seasons where a team had the best record and didn't make it to the finals.
No, I know that. But how did it happen? How is that team, without their main guy, their driving force, their most important factor, or whatever you want to say about him, how are they able to do it so much or to that level when he left, if he's the reason? And then when they had him, how do they lose so many times?
Listen, you don't agree with my opinion, but okay, so I'll just
not an opinion, a claim. It's not an opinion, it's a claim. If you say
okay, my claim.
Right.
Okay, so you don't agree with it. I said he made them better. Like, I mean, I know you don't agree with that, but I mean, I don't know what to say.
But you're just making things up. You could just say, well, they made him better. He's a reason that they won, and because of him, and he made them better. They won because of him. There's nothing else to do.
Okay, all right. So let me. Okay, them winning just 2 less games doesn't negate his impact.
But remember, I'm not disputing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not disputing his impact. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm not disputing that he had a good impact. I'm disputing that he had the impact to the level that you say.
Well, whether it's a little impact or a big impact, it's an impact enough to where they didn't make the championship. Okay? Right. I don't think that...
And they didn't make the championship when they had him many times.
Yeah, years before. Oh, during the 80s.
When he came back.
Okay, 1 year when he didn't come back, and then the next 3 years they did win.
Right, but that's not... So logical question. It's Michael Jordan. He's basically the same player every year. Some years he has better statistics, some to the lesser level, and so on. But he's basically the same guy every year. People are not going to be that different, especially when they're when you call them or when you call him the number 1 NBA player of all time. He's not going to be that different. How do you ignore that same guy loses and wins as if it's because of him? When do you say, well, if the same guy is winning and the same guy is losing, maybe it's not because of him?
Okay, so is he supposed to just win every year?
So is he supposed to get credit for winning and not get the blame for losing? And is another star not supposed to get the credit for winning and is supposed to get the blame for losing?
No, you get credit and blame for what you get credit for when you win, and you get blamed for when you lost. Okay, you can get blamed. All I'm saying is when he won, once he won, he pretty much kept winning except for those 2 years. Well, technically 1 year that he was there. All the rest of the years he was with the Bulls, he won.
No, but when you say you can blame him for losing, you know you don't really do that. I know you admitted it today on the phone call, but I'm pretty sure before the phone call, you don't blame him for losing, and I'm pretty sure even now you don't blame him for losing. And like, how does it make sense to act like, okay, he's the reason they won and he's the reason they lost? How can it be the reason for both?
Look, he's a contributing reason. I'm not saying he's the sole factor, but yes, it's a contributing factor. He got the ball stolen from him by Nick Anderson, like he wasn't paying attention. I know that was just one game, but obviously we see that, okay, he wasn't at his best that year.
I thought you were acknowledging that maybe that's not true. So you're going back to that?
I'm not saying anything is all true or all false. There are multiple contributing factors. Okay, all I'm saying is he during the 90s, he won more than he lost.
No, let me ask you, what did he do? Now, I know you might give me generic things like he got more experience.
He's great.
He got more screens, or, he knew where to go on the floor and all that, but he was still pretty much the same guy. Do you really think he was so different that he made his team win? It's a basketball game. One guy doesn't win by himself or lose by himself.
They had the best record before the Golden State took it in 2016.
Right.
They had the best winning record.
And it's not because of him. Like you said,
did they have the best record? Did they have the best record like those 2 years? Like let's say both years. Let's say the first year. I'm sorry, I keep saying 2 years. Let's say the first year he didn't make it, and they got like an even better record with him not being there. Yes, while impressive, they still didn't make it to the finals though. It's just like don't mean a thing without the ring.
But we went through this. You're going by 1 year. You can't just determine everything by 1 year. And there was more than 1 year where they had them and they lost, and they still won 2 less games, though.
Okay. So let's go back to the 80s. Why can't we acknowledge, hey, that was a developmental phase, and once he got to the top, he pretty much stayed there.
Because there's many problems with this argument. I won't go over all of them. I'll just give you some. Number one, you're saying the greatest NBA player of all time was not really there in the entire 1980s. That doesn't make sense. Number two, he was, even if you don't say he's the greatest NBA player of all time, he's still a Hall of Fame player. You're saying a Hall of Fame player all those years in the 1980s wasn't that good. And number three, you're ignoring the fact that he would win MVP some years when he was in the NBA. And last but not least, you're ignoring the fact that statistics were really good. You can't ignore all these things and go, well, he wasn't really there. And then somehow he magically got there at the age of 27 in 1991.
Yes. So what was the difference between 91? What was the difference between 90 and 91?
Many things. For example, their team was better. Maybe they had, I don't have everything in front of me, so I don't know. Maybe they had better chemistry. Maybe they had less injuries and so on. What are the reasons any team wins? It could be a number of factors.
Okay. So they got better. They did something. They worked on their game. They did something to get better. The point is they got better. They didn't just draft a bunch of stars and say, okay, yeah, we got a super team now. They got better. They worked on their game. They got better.
If they drafted a bunch of stars, that would have been okay. Only you guys have a problem with super teams. Well, actually, you guys don't have a problem with super teams when it's with Michael Jordan. You guys say he had no help. He had no super team.
No.
But anyway.
No. I don't actually have a problem with LeBron having a super team. I have a problem with people calling LeBron the GOAT. Okay. Now, for instance, KD went to Golden State. That was weak simply because you're KD. You're a once-in-a-generation talent. You're comparable to LeBron James. Why would you go to a super team?
But I thought rings was a part of it. You're now holding it against a guy for trying to get rings.
I'm holding it against Kevin Durant, okay, because he's Kevin Durant. Okay,
actually, what really is happening, if you really want to be honest, the reason you're holding it against him and anyone else is because anyone who's a threat to Michael Jordan, you're going to tear down. No matter what he does, you'll find a way. If he stays where he is and he gets the rings, you might say, I'm not saying you'll say this, but you might say the league is not that good. If he leaves to a super team, you might say, he got a super team. If he goes to a team that's kind of weak or kind of in the middle, you'll say, well, maybe he wasn't the number one guy and all that. There's always going to be an excuse. And with Michael Jordan, you never have an excuse.
No. That's not true. That's not true. Listen, there was a period where I thought LeBron James could possibly outpace Michael Jordan. As much as I love Michael Jordan, I thought it was possible. Okay, but LeBron did not live up to that. So I just want people to stop with this goat.
Only in the minds.
You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever considered maybe you guys are wrong and he did?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. He's falling short.
No. I mean, if you go by the things you go by. Maybe. But if you go by things that you should go by, he's definitely a better player.
Okay, so like what? Based on what?
Well, in any sport, you always go by whoever brings more to the table. So when you go by everything, he brings more to the table.
Okay, like?
Okay, for example, rebounding, longevity, field goal percentage, and so on. All basketball things.
Longevity doesn't matter, especially if it doesn't translate to winning.
I've never heard anyone in sports say stamina, durability, playing all these games, playing all these minutes is not a part of it. It's all part of it.
But if it doesn't translate to winning, like, who cares?
How is one?
I mean, Vince Carter played for 21 years, 22.
Right, yeah,
he never won a championship.
How is it supposed to translate to winning? If you play basketball and you do what you're supposed to do and you don't win, how is that your fault?
It is your fault, especially if you're LeBron. Especially if you're LeBron James. You're one of the best players to ever play. And what do you have to in these past 4 years? Okay, well, he won the bubble championship. I'm just saying he has a losing record. Okay, and
he doesn't have any record, man. It's not one guy winning and losing. It's not an individual sport.
Listen, but he's LeBron James. It's not like I'm talking about I don't know. Bring up some other good player, but that's not
any player you talk about. Any player you talk about in any sport, any team sport. One guy does not win by himself or herself.
LeBron and they don't lose by himself. LeBron has had great teams. LeBron has been on great teams.
And
he's got the brakes beat off him. All right, come on, let's go there. The Mavs, he lost in 2011 to old ass Dirk, and a Mavericks team that never even won a championship.
Dude. There's reasons why teams win and lose. Didn't you admit earlier that when we were talking about this, you were saying, I don't remember what the topic was exactly, but you were acknowledging there's reasons why teams win and lose?
Sure.
But I'm glad you admit that, but then why do you jump ship and then put it on a guy for winning and losing?
Because he's the difference maker. LeBron James is the most important player on the Heat team in 2011.
A difference maker to who? The team. No matter how much of a difference maker you are, you're not going to win and lose if you don't have a healthy team. That's good. You can get I'll give you a hypothetical. You can average 100 points a game, 100 rebounds a game, 100 steals a game, and so on, and never have a team that wins one basketball game. Because all the other team has to do is just, not all, I made a mistake. Not all that they have to do, but at the end of the day, they have to score more points than you, right? That's one of the things they have to do.
That will only happen if you have a shitty team. He did not have a shitty team.
No, it doesn't have to happen if you have a shitty team. You can have good teams. You can have super teams. You can have average teams.
LeBron had a great team, and he got beat by old ass Dirk.
No, he did not.
A franchise that had never won.
No, you're assuming that they were so good they should have won, and then you assume because they didn't win, it's because of him, and then you assume Dirk Nowitzki was old and won by himself.
No, I'm not saying Dirk Nowitzki was trash then, but he wasn't at his peak. He wasn't even at his peak.
It doesn't matter. He didn't win by himself.
Okay, well, look. Point is, here's the thing. This is one of my biggest arguments against LeBron. He minimizes his teammates.
And Michael Jordan, if that's true, Michael Jordan doesn't?
No.
Man, you're a typical Michael Jordan fan. He was a terrible leader and a terrible team player.
What is your definition of minimizing? Because I think we might be talking about two different minimizing.
Fair enough. Fair. That's a good point. Okay, that's a good question. Go ahead. What do you mean by minimizing? Go ahead.
Okay, LeBron plays in such a way that the offense always has to flow through him. He's always doing the distribution. Like, his teammates always have to react off of him. Like, he does not really play off ball most of his career.
I don't understand. Forget about if all that is true or not. You could have said the same exact things about Michael Jordan.
No.
Yes. Joe Dumars said 90. He was kind of joking and being serious. He said 95% of the plays are for Michael Jordan, and the other 5% are for Michael Jordan.
I don't know if he was talking about Michael Jordan's team. I think he's talking about.
Yeah, he's talking about that. No, he's talking about Michael Jordan and the team. His team. Even Michael Jordan fans have acknowledged that he was the main guy. He carried the load for scoring. They say he didn't trust his teammates and all that.
Okay, right. And then Phil Jackson asked him to modify his game, which he did.
We went through this. He didn't want to actually modify it, but they convinced him.
It doesn't matter if he wanted to. It doesn't matter if he wanted to.
But how much did he modify? He was still scoring over 30 points a game. How much did he modify?
But see, look, his play style is different from LeBron. LeBron was a lot of times the point guard, the main distributor. Michael Jordan's not the distributor.
That's not true. Michael Jordan many times was a distributor, a point guard, bringing the ball up and so on.
Okay, but that wasn't like his. It wasn't it wasn't the majority of the time. It was very rare. And I think one season, remember one season there was one particular season in the 80s where they had made him be the point guard, but they never, after that, that was one season though.
That was one season where he did it to that level, but that wasn't the only time. It wasn't rare. He wasn't the point guard all the time, but there were plenty of plays where he was doing those things. And in fact, you guys always love to bring up the 1991 finals where he was getting lots of assists and all that. This play, it's a triangle. Guards can bring up the ball all the time.
Okay, well, look.
Even if it's not a triangle, guards can bring up the ball all the time.
Michael Jordan will modify his game to whatever will make the team win. He'll modify his game.
And LeBron James modified his game. He passes a bunch of times.
No.
Yes.
LeBron. Yes. LeBron never plays off ball. You'll never see LeBron just post somebody up, catch the ball, turn around, shoot. You'll never see that.
That's not true. You just made that up. That happens all the time. Maybe less now. It happens
not frequently.
But even
LeBron is not an off-ball player like that. He's not an off-ball player.
Even if he was not, you could make up something like that about Michael Jordan. And even if you say, no, Michael Jordan was an off-ball player, that doesn't mean that LeBron James is not helping his team or doing a good job, or he's not a good leader, or he's not a good team player. In fact, at the end of the day, no matter what a player does, whether it's Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki, or whoever, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing what's expected. They got permission to do these things, and they got support to do these things.
No. LeBron's play style minimizes his teammates.
Okay, but you just ignored what I said. They're getting the support, their permission, they're expected to do these things, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. If you're saying, if the only people who question him are you guys who are Michael Jordan fans, how do you explain that most of the time, I didn't say always, okay, so please, I hope you don't cherry pick some examples where someone disagrees, but most of the time, his owners, his general managers, his coaches, and his teammates are fine with all this. If they were not, they wouldn't let him keep doing it.
Okay, whether they're fine with it or not, okay, well, they're incompetent then. How about that?
Everyone's incompetent, but you Michael Jordan fans are not. It doesn't make any sense.
Whatever LeBron was doing didn't translate to more winning for him.
First of all, he went to lots of finals. You can't ignore that, and he did win 4 rings. If you're going to
great achievement,
if you're going to put it on a guy for winning and losing, how do you explain that guy who's the way you explained? He's on teams that go to lots of finals and won lots of rings. You can't ignore all that and then just point the finger at him for everything, and then give a pass to Michael Jordan for doing the same things.
It's not me giving a pass. I'm just saying he ain't as great as Michael Jordan.
You're saying more than that. You're saying more than that. You're not just saying he's not as good. That's part of it. You're also questioning him and ignoring how much he accomplished. I mean, if he passes a lot and he's getting assists, you can't just ignore that and act like he's not a good leader. He's not a good team player. He's not, his team is not winning and all that.
No. and that's another problem with the LeBron effect. Okay, people think because he passes the ball that makes him like, oh, he's a great playmaker and all this. Okay, he is a great playmaker. I won't deny it. Great passes, great court vision. He has great basketball IQ. Okay, but his style as play does not translate to more finals. Yes, he made it to more finals, but he didn't win.
If he went to the finals so many times and he won 4 times, and how can you just ignore all that and just simplify like he wasn't good enough?
He wasn't. That's why he lost 6 times.
Like if he went to
lost 6 times.
If he went to 0 finals and he won 0 rings, I still wouldn't agree with you. But at least if you want to go by your logic about winning and losing with with a guy, a guy wins and loses, he went a bunch of times and won 4 times. How can you ignore all that and just focus on?
I'm not ignoring it. Listen, I acknowledge that. I've already acknowledged LeBron's greatness.
No, you're not acknowledging it. When you point the finger at him the way you do, and then you don't do the same thing for Michael Jordan, you're not acknowledging it.
I'm saying he's not as great as Michael Jordan.
Okay, but that part is definitely, we know that part definitely, but you're not backing that up. You're just going by whatever you want, and you're not being consistent.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to this. Like I said, he lost 2011 to old-ass dirt team.
He never lost. His team lost.
He had a super Miami team.
He never lost. It's the team that loses. I don't know why you're changing.
No. Michael, LeBron is the most important player. He lost. Can I ask you,
if you're playing a basketball game and you're doing what you're supposed to do, and I know you're going to say he's not doing what he's supposed to do, but at least can you agree for the most part he's doing what he's supposed to do? How can you put it on anyone for that? How can you put it on that guy for losing or act like he's the reason they won? If he's scoring the points, getting the rebounds, getting the assists, and all that, you can't just ignore all that and go, it's not good enough.
But there was a pivotal game. He didn't score a lot of points.
Okay, so now it comes down to random game time?
And no, it's not random game time. You're supposed to step up in the tight situation.
Well, let me ask you, how can Michael Jordan do those things in the finals if he lost earlier? You said he never lost in the finals. No, he didn't. You know why? Because he lost earlier. You can't lose in the finals if you lost earlier. You guys always go, he never lost in the finals. Well, because he lost earlier.
Well, what do you mean he lost earlier? You mean like previous years in the 80s?
When the years he didn't make the finals, he lost. You just ignore those losses, and you act like it's a tennis game or something where you go, we're going to count this part one-on-one. We're not going to count the other parts.
Okay. All right, I get what you're saying. But you're saying, hey, these losses have to count as well. Okay, I get it. But the point is, when you make it to the finals, that's the most important. Like I said, the stakes are higher.
Then you're still not getting it. You're still not getting it. How can Michael Jordan lose if he already lost? What you're basically saying is, I know he lost. I know he can't lose in the finals because he already lost. So I know his team lost earlier. But we're not going to count those. We're just going to count when they got there. It doesn't make any sense. It's like somebody saying, I'm going to count the first. I'm not going to count the first round losses, but I'm going to count the second round losses, or vice versa, whichever. Then it doesn't make any sense.
No, because we don't care about that. We care about the finals.
Well, that's a problem. Why don't you care? You can't. You're basically. Why don't you care about all the losses? Why do you cherry pick what losses you want to go by? You're basically telling people it's better to lose earlier. Because once you get to the finals and lose, it's going to go against you. So why even lose in the finals? Just lose earlier.
I don't think that's a good argument, man. I just don't. I do understand to an extent. Okay, the bias of Jordan fans. Okay, I get that. But, all right, we can say the same thing about LeBron then. He's been in 21 seasons, so he still has more losses than Jordan, even if we go by that.
Maybe if LeBron James retired in his prime and took a break and refreshed and all that, maybe he would have less losses. Maybe if Michael Jordan didn't take a break and refresh and, rewind, just take it easy and all that, maybe he would have more losses. You guys don't go by everything. You guys go by the parts you want to go by. It's much harder when a guy stays in the NBA year after year after year after year, doesn't take a break, no vacation, no taking it easy, and all that. And it's harder. Well, you get the point. It's harder if you keep it going, and it's easier when you can take a break. Imagine if every star got to take a break. What if Larry Bird, who had injuries, got to take a break? What if Kareem got to take a break, or Dr. J got to take a break, and so on? And remember, Michael Jordan took more than one break. He took 2 breaks. That really makes it easier to help yourself do better, rejuvenate, win, and all that.
The guy still won 2 3-peats. Like, one champion.
You're just ignoring everything I'm saying.
One champion is hard enough. Back to back is hard.
You're just ignoring everything I'm saying. Why do you only find ways to elevate him and then you only find ways to put down someone else?
Okay.
What if LeBron James got to take a break? What if Michael Jordan never took a break? When
is the last time LeBron played 82 games? Michael Jordan played 82 games almost every season. That's not taking a break.
Hold on. Now you're changing the argument. My argument is not you have to play 82 games. You do recognize there's a difference between a guy who plays year after year after year after year versus a guy who takes more than one break. You do realize that.
Sure.
Okay,
I'll acknowledge that.
Okay, so then what if LeBron James got to take a break? What if he got to take more than one break? What if Michael Jordan never took a break? Do you know for sure what would happen? You don't.
No, we don't. We don't know.
But we can.
I do know he won 2 3-peats, which nobody else has ever done.
No, you don't know that because he never won 2 3-peats. And actually, you're wrong because Bill Russell won like 8 in a row. So he won 2 3-peats. But you're not going to count those because you're going to say something questionable about the past NBA, or he had a super team, or he wasn't that skilled, or something.
Look. They had 8 teams back then.
You see what I mean?
I respect Bill Russell.
But you see, I just predicted you're going to find a way to have an excuse, and you did that.
Because it's a good argument. Okay, like I know people hate to hear that, but like it was 8 teams, and I'm not even knocking the skill level. I'm not even talking about skill level.
Let me ask you. Why is having a certain amount of teams change anything? You're still playing 82 games a year. In fact, if you play the same guys over and over, it's going to be harder to do well against them because they have a better chance of figuring you out.
I mean, that's arguable, man. You know what I'm saying? That's arguable.
Why? No, it's not arguable. It's not arguable. It doesn't matter how many teams you play. If you have 14 teams or 18 teams, what is that? How does that make any difference? You're still playing 82 games a year.
Listen. I could take your same argument and say the same thing. I could say, hey, because you play them so many times, you know their tendencies. If you're the better team, then you're just going to keep dominating.
Right.
Versus you having to play.
You can say whatever you want, but you don't say that. You just simplify it and go, they had less teams, therefore it doesn't count.
Okay, well, listen. All right, well, let's go there. We know the skill level was not.
No, we don't know that. No, we don't know that. You know.
Listen. The skill level went up maybe like when the leagues merged.
Let's go by your logic. So more teams is better. Skill level goes up. Okay, so by your logic,
around the mid-70s.
That's fine. This is your logic now. I don't agree, and there's a lot of problems with this argument. And I'm going to give you one problem right here. If you're right, and more teams is better, and skill level goes up as time passes, then by your logic, when LeBron James was in the NBA was better than when Michael Jordan was in the NBA because there's more teams now and the skill level goes up as time passes.
Yeah, the skill level's gone up since Jordan's era. Yeah, it's a better.
No. I'm saying as time passes to LeBron James' time, more teams are here, so his league is better, and skills are better as time passes, so his league is better.
Overall, I would say so. There's greater pool of talent.
Okay. So you're being consistent. Now here's the problem. Also, if you say the league is better when LeBron James played compared to when Michael Jordan played, that means you have to do the same thing that you did with Bill Russell. With Bill Russell, you found a way to dismiss it. What happened because less teams, less skills, whatever, less skills, less teams. So now you have to do the same thing. Remember, you elevated Michael Jordan, so now you have to elevate LeBron James and dismiss what Michael Jordan did. Then,
no,
of course not.
The difference between skill level between that era, Jordan's era, and LeBron today is much smaller than Bill Russell's era and the 90s.
Are you kidding me? Are you saying Bill Russell left in what 1969, 1970?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did the league magically get better?
Not magically, but like about mid-70s.
Okay, so 6 years later?
Yeah. It had a significant increase.
Not only did you make that up, but that makes no sense. In 6 years, there's a big change. And if there was a big change, by the way, let's say you're right. Let's say the league got better in 6 years. Say it again.
Okay, look, Steph Curry revolutionized the game. Yes, the game is better now than it was 6-7 years ago.
He did not. He didn't revolutionize the game. No.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. Michael Jordan fans believe that, though. He didn't. He shot a lot of threes, just like lots of people shot a lot of threes. That's not revolutionizing the game.
But okay, so every player being good at threes now isn't because of Steph Curry?
No. Are you? That's what you're saying. I'm not saying that. The Warriors.
So we have the same. We have the same amount of threes being shot today back in 2014.
No, we're not. I'm saying it's not because I'm saying Steph Curry didn't revolutionize the game. No, most fans.
So what's your definition of revolution?
That's a fair question. Go ahead. What do you mean by revolution?
Well, okay. I mean, you change the paradigm, like the skills necessary to be effective.
He didn't. He didn't change it. Lots of teams started shooting more threes, especially the Warriors. And then, like anytime a team does good, the rest of the league tries to catch up and copy them and beat them and so on. So then they shoot threes, and it becomes a thing because he's the leader, supposedly. You guys do this simple thing of putting a guy on top of everyone and saying he's the reason. You're doing it with Steph Curry now. It doesn't make any sense. Most people weren't saying the game is revolutionized because of Steph Curry. But the people who did say that were Michael Jordan fans.
All right, listen, I want to get back on this LeBron thing, man. Okay. Look, he got beat 2011, old dirt team.
Never happened.
Then he lost then he lost again 2014.
Never happened. He never got beat.
Lost again to
Dirk Nowitzki didn't beat him. No, never happened. This is all... You're making it up, man.
Dirk Nowitzki's team beat LeBron's team.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay, well then what's the point of telling me that?
Okay, we just running off his failures. Okay.
No. You said wait. You said Dirk's team beat his team. How is that his failure?
Because he's the leader of the team.
Okay, so how is it his failure?
Because he's the leader and he lost.
No, we know he's the leader. But we know he didn't lose. You say he did lose.
He didn't.
How is it his fault?
He didn't have a shitty team. team.
So what? You don't have to have a shitty team to lose.
All right, if you don't have a shitty team and you lose, you're the problem.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm down with that. So Michael Jordan's a problem.
When his team was losing, yeah.
Okay, so I don't. So the greatest player of all time is a problem?
Early on during his developmental period, yeah. Okay,
early on for 7 years.
Yeah, however long it takes, man. The point is,
I want to understand. So then he got better in his 7th year, and then he got worse again 3 years later.
Look, man, there's peaks and valleys, man.
Are you being serious or joking, man? Come on. Are you joking? If you tell me you're joking, I'll feel better about this.
I'm dead serious. Peaks and valleys.
But then number one, if there's peaks and valleys for him like that level, he can't be the greatest NBA player of all time. Number two, other players, if you're saying there's peaks and valleys, other players are more consistently better than him. And number three, there were no peaks and valleys with him. Check his numbers. It was pretty much the same. You can't say all those years don't count, and then say they count, and then say then they don't count, and then say they count again, and then I assume the Washington Wizard years don't count?
No, they count. They count. Look.
Well, then he lost those times too. So if they count, look at your peaks and valleys. They don't count for 7 years. They count for 3 years. They don't count for 1 year. They count for 3 years. They don't count for 2 years. And then you say he's the greatest NBA player of all time.
Listen. All of it counts. Nobody has a perfect record. Like you can't. Like that's not. I don't think you're making a good argument.
We're not even talking about perfection. First of all, we're not even talking about perfection. We're having lots of years where that guy lost. But why not perfection? If you're saying a guy wins and loses, why is he not winning every year anyway?
Why would he win every year?
Because he's the greatest NBA player of all time. He figured it out. There's no peaks and valleys for him actually, and all that. Don't you see?
No, that's not realistic. Any success has an ascension period.
Okay, but why? But why? You can't just simplify and go, well, nobody wins every year. Why? Why would you say?
Okay, show me a sport.
A quick question. Michael Jordan scores 30 points and loses. Michael Jordan scores 30 points and wins. I know points is not the only part of the game. I'm just simplifying it. What's the difference? He's the same guy.
No, there is a difference. Okay. I'll tell you. I'll tell you, there's a difference. Okay, Michael Jordan told a story about Luke Longley. I don't know. He was playing good in the first quarter or something like that, and then Michael Jordan, like, pat him on the back, say, "Hey, good job," and then for the rest of the game, Luke Longley didn't put in the same production.
No, but you're just cherry picking an example. You can say this about any Hall of Famer.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let me just say this, and then maybe it's not a good example, but let me just say this. Okay, so at the end of the game, he tells Luke Longley, he says, "Hey, it's the last time I'm gonna give you a compliment." Okay, the point is he's holding Luke Longley to a standard. That's an intangible that the stats can't measure. You're keeping your teammates engaged. You're holding them to a certain standard. I don't think LeBron does that.
Hey, please subscribe, and if you disagree with me on something, you can go on my program and show me your facts on whatever you disagree on. If you want to go on, let's set it up. Send me an email. The email is right there in the description section. Thank you.